Marry me, weirdos! I'm Gory Movie.
And I'm Killer Kayla.
And this is a Strange and Unusual Book Club where we read horror, science fiction, and fantasy books and discuss them with you.
Yes, we do. You, our many loyal fans.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of you.
Yeah.
You may not all be here right now watching, but we see you.
You're out there. Oh, whoa. There we are.
I hope Adam shows up.
Me too, because I need to talk to him.
And it is Adam Appreciation Month.
Yeah.
So the books we read this month, we read 2 books, one science fiction, one fantasy. One of them was Redshirts by John Scalzi, and the other one was a sequel to last month's book.
Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Well, the original was The House in the Cerulean Sea, but we read Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune.
So let's just jump into it. Let's talk about our first book here. So Star Trek fans, listen up, because you'll need to read this book. This is the most Star Trek book that is not actually officially Star Trek.
Yeah.
So to give you a premise, it is, you guys know the joke on Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
So they go on a mission, and almost every time, while bad things might happen to the main cast, they survive, but oftentimes one of the red shirts will die.
Yes. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. You do not want to be a red shirt. And the premise of this one is that this group of new recruits who are red shirts, they start to realize this, and then they're like, "Oh no, fuck no, we're not going on that mission.
Nope, no away missions for me."
Hey, I see Mummy B Movie.
Hi, Mummy.
And I see Connie Nunn.
Hi.
It's both of our moms.
I love it, Mom City.
Yeah, dude. Where's our chat? All right. Oh yeah, I'll fix it. Anyway. So, oh no. Did it freeze?
It froze.
Pete's sake. It's fine. Anyway, I think it's still, we might be having, okay, hopefully everything is fine. We had a minor technical difficulty.
Yep.
But now we're back.
We're back.
And everything's great. And we're going to go back here, and then, see, look, I figured it out, Kayla Marie. Okay, so red shirts. We have a group of young people.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, the characters were not the big draw of this. Yeah, it's temporarily frozen. It'll be back, right?
Yes.
I think it's back.
It'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's back.
Okay.
It's back. What
Okay.
did I just say?
Nobody
knows. Nobody knows what I'm saying. Okay, I'm trying to fix stuff. So.
Whoa.
That is not the right
window. We're
window.
getting into all kinds of like metaverses here.
Yeah, Kayla, I know. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Okay, there. I fixed it. Okay. Everything's fine, guys. Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't panic.
Okay. So, there's
a lot of characters. There's a lot. And
Break
I
it
even
down.
wrote, so our main dude, Ensign Andrew Dahl, he's a xenobiologist. And then after that...
Not a xenomorph.
No, not a xenomorph.
Those
but
are different
he would
things.
study a xenobiologist. Or a xenomorph. I wrote, there's a lot of characters. I didn't write them all down. It's really hard to follow.
And honestly, like, it's really annoying because Dahl is our main character, like the main of the group. And then there's a female character, and then what is her name? Duval.
Yes.
I got them mixed up so much. To quickly answer Douglas's question, no, there is not a mic on Kayla too, but hopefully you can hear her very well.
Yeah. It's a good microphone.
So, yeah, that part was not great. This is mostly one I think you're going to read because the plot is so intriguing. So, Dahl. I get them mixed up. He finds out on, like, one of their first missions, there's nobody to be found. He's like, where are all the other red shirts?
Yeah.
And then eventually he finds out they all went to coffee. And it's because they know how this works. They know one of them will always die, especially with certain crew members. So essentially the one that's the stand-in for maybe like Commander Riker.
Yeah.
They know like somebody is going to die if they go with him.
Yeah.
He'll get beat up pretty bad, but somebody will die.
Somebody will die.
So he thinks that's really weird. And then it becomes very clear what's going on when they go on a mission and they are exposed to a virus And he is tasked with coming up with an antidote because the lieutenant, like your Commander Riker type, he is infected. And we have a ticking clock. We've got like 12 hours. And he's like, what am I going to do? I don't know how to do this. So he goes downstairs and they very calmly are like, put it in the microwave. It'll be done.
Yeah, just put it in the box.
Just put it in the box.
The box.
And, sorry.
Maybe she needs to turn it off and turn it back on.
Maybe try turning it off and turning it back on again. If anybody else is having that issue, let me know if our speech is not matching the screen on the TV.
Yes.
Because we will try to fix it.
Yeah.
So they put it in the box, and it's ready in like 6 hours, I think.
Yeah, they say put it in the box, come back in like 6.5 hours, and you'll have something.
And it's the cure. And he looks at it because he's a scientist. He's a biologist, and he can't make heads or tails. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
And they're like, it doesn't matter. Now go take it up. Go take it up to the lieutenant and tell him you've almost got it, except for one little thing. He, in turn, will tell you what the little thing is. You, I mean, if you want to score extra brownie points, be like, oh, that's so genius. Why didn't I think of that? Go fix the thing, give it back to him, and everything's solved. He's like, this is not how life is.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Yeah. Yeah. So he does it, and he goes up to the lieutenant, and he's like, hey, I have this protein, like everything, or I have your solution. It's just missing this one. He's like, why is it always the one thing with you guys? Like, why can't you get it together down there? And then they fix it, and the guy's fine. And then the very next day, this commander, he's like, I don't even remember what his name is, Kerensky?
Yeah, I just kept thinking it was Commander Riker.
He's back up and at it the next day. Like, nothing happened. His recovery time is so quick. And he's constantly getting, like, broken bones or diseases.
He also had a lot of bones from the classic Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Where they would ask him to do stuff, and he's like, but that's not my job.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm a doctor, not a blah, blah, blah.
Not a whatever the thing is.
So, and even the captain, is a lot like Kirk, where he goes in balls crazy, and they're like, that's really, really, really stupid, but somehow it always works out.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you would think it is. So, minor spoiler, but they essentially realize they are part of a plot. Mm-hmm. And it's not every ship.
Yeah.
It's this particular ship.
Yeah.
And they realize it's a drama. It's a plot. And it's really, really sad because obviously some characters are more important than other characters. And there is one guy who figured it out. And he figured it out because his wife was essentially a redshirt. And she died. He was a very minor character. Like, I don't think he even got screen time just as the husband. And so for him, he has this whole history. And he's grieving, but he realizes in the scheme of things that, like, they don't really amount to much.
Yeah.
And he's pretty angry about it. And so he's trying to work the system.
Yeah, he's hiding, essentially. He's hiding from the system. And he sets up some kind of a signal to the other scientists in the biology lab that, like, when somebody's coming and they have an away mission, they get this notification and they skedaddle out of there. So he's, like, saving their lives, but he's essentially hiding, but he knows what's going on.
Yeah. And it is very, very, this is like one of the most meta books I've ever read. It's so meta. And there's just some things in here that I think people who are fans of Star Trek would absolutely enjoy. So one of these quotes, I'm an astrogator, man. I'm a brilliant astrogator. I just want to astrogate, right? Why don't you point that out to the captain, Keeg? Dahl says. Like, it's so like, oh, that's almost a Star Trek quote.
Yes.
It's so close to being that. I have a few other ones in here that I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah. So it gets really, really meta when they realize that they're essentially a show. Now, not every ship is. They are. And they even mention the Enterprise and Star Trek by name. So it's not trying. The other thing that they make a joke about is their show's not very good.
Yes, they do say that. And at first, when they said that, I was like, are they talking shit on Star Trek? They're not. They're saying their show is like Star Trek, and it's not a very good version of what Star Trek is.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually thought he was talking about Stargate because the author, John Scalzi, that's how he got his start, was as a writer on Stargate SVG.
Oh, really?
And so a lot of people were like, okay, it's like Star Trek, but it's not. It's really... So a lot of people are like, you shouldn't on our show. And he says in the afterward, like, I was very proud to work on that.
Yeah.
But he just wanted for his thing to be like, it's kind of a knockoff of one of these things.
Yeah.
So these things exist in the universe. On top of that, they are able to look up and see who the actors are that play them. So the actors have no idea.
Yeah.
The producers have no idea. And so they come up with this balls crazy scheme that if they can go through like a wormhole, they can get into essentially our reality.
Yeah, they have to go back in time.
Also back in time to when the show was produced. So I think it's early 2000s.
Like 2012.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they need to talk the producers into making changes. I won't spoil more than I need to, but I'm just trying to get you guys excited here.
Yeah.
Making changes that will save them. So this reminded me a lot. I think that's enough plot details. Yeah. This reminded me a lot. If you guys watch Black Mirror, there is a Star Trek sort of parody thing on there, and it does kind of go in and out with...
I wouldn't be surprised if whoever wrote that episode had read this book, because this book was written in like 2012 or published.
And actually my younger brother loved, that's like his favorite episode ever, and they just had a sequel to that episode. So absolutely, if you're a fan of that episode of Black Mirror, the Star Trek-y one, this is your cup of tea, because this came out first. It's also a Hugo Award winner, which is a science fiction award given to like the best of the best of science fiction books. So it is really, really good. It has a lot of fun, but there are also parts in this that I think, in my opinion, a great work of art. It's fun and it should be enjoyed. I do believe that entertainment should be to entertain, but I also think sometimes the greatest have a little bit of wisdom that teaches us how to maneuver this thing called life.
Yeah, absolutely.
How to be human. And both the books today, I think, have a bit of that, including this quote, then maybe you can believe this, Hansen said. Whether you're an extra or the hero, this story is about to end. When it's done, whatever you want to be will be up to you and only you. It will happen away from the eyes of the audience and from the hand of any writer. You will be your own man. And then Dahl says, if I exist when I stop being written. So essentially I think it's kind of, it made me think like thematically a lot like when you're a child or a teenager, you're told, like you get a lot of feedback from teachers and your parents and stuff and all people who are supporting you and who are very involved in you, of who you are and what you should be and what you could be. And then at a certain point when you've just finally kind of, cut the apron strings and you're an adult, now it's up to you to decide who you are. And that's essentially what these characters are figuring out. Like, okay, well, when we fix all this, and we're no longer in this fiction scenario, who am I?
Yeah, what do I do? How do I live my life?
Exactly. Because you can be anything. And that is a whole adventure in itself.
Yes.
That is the place where you boldly go, where no one has gone before.
And only you can do that.
Exactly. So I thought there were some beautiful things in it. Commenting here, you do have a whole wall of earrings.
These ones actually came from you. You bought me these ones. Yeah.
I have excellent taste.
You do.
I also will explain why we have our earrings in a second. And the shirt I'll explain too. Mummy says, have you seen the new Star Trek show, Strange New Worlds with Captain Pike? I have not. Have you?
I have. I've seen a few episodes. It's really, really good. I quit because I got distracted. But it's really, really good. And the guy who plays Pike is a hat.
Oh, nice.
He's a hattie.
Nice. I can dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I also got that about, like, living your life, and not, like, having agency, and, like, and that was also a theme in the other book that we read, but, like, being able to be the master of your own ship. And there's a character in a later part, and that's kind of, like, his whole thing is, like, he dips his toes in all these pots and doesn't really know what to do, and he doesn't ever really see anything through, and so he's not living his life, and so that was, when you were reading that quote, I thought about that other part too.
It also made me think of, like, Terminator 2, where they're like, there is no future but what we make for ourselves, and there's some safety in having this plot that they can rely on, that's reliable, even though they are terrified for their lives, they know what to expect. but there is a scariness in going into this great unknown where it's up to them now. So if their new life sucks, it's up to them to fix it.
Yeah.
It's up to them to take responsibility.
Yes.
They can't blame anybody else.
They can't blame the writers. They can't blame the captain.
And again, I think that's a lot like childhood versus adulthood. Like when your childhood sucks, you can blame bad teachers and you can blame your parents and stuff. But when you're like, you know, in your 30s and 40s, at that point when people are like, oh, well, my life sucks because of my parents, it's like, no. You're an adult. You need to own up your shit and fix it.
Yeah, you owning up to your own mistakes, and also like you don't have to let those things define you either.
And going back to science fiction, are you a fan of Red Dwarf?
I've never seen it.
I love Red Dwarf. So Red Dwarf is a show. It's a lot.
It's on like the BBC or sci-fi.
It's an English show, but they're this group of characters who are in space. But the reason I bring it up is because there's a character, Rimmer, who's very, I guess, anal retentive. And he's constantly like, well, if my parents had done this and my parents... And it sounds pathetic because it is. Because, like, Rimmer, you're an adult now.
Yeah.
Your parents are long gone. Your parents are long dead.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, you can have a better life. The options are there. You have a world of possibilities. And I think as we get older, sometimes we think our doors are closing. But we always have the option to open those doors up. And so, like... I think this book is just a reminder that you have all these possibilities.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it's easy. It takes
scary.
work.
It's really scary.
And it's really scary.
It's like going out into space where there's like, you don't know what's out there.
There's Bergovian sandworms.
Exactly.
And ice sharks.
Which I'm glad you mentioned that too, because the book is also really funny.
It is
especially
really funny.
If you're a fan of Star Trek. This book is laugh out loud funny.
Yes. It's really clever.
I also highly recommend, I listened to this on, I mean, I read parts of it too. I did kind of both. But the audiobook is read by Will Wheaton, which is an extra layer of funny.
Yeah.
Because he was Wesley on
Crusher.
Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation.
The Next Generation, yep, he was such a cutie patootie. So I was reading the reviews on Goodreads. The very top review is from Patrick Rothfuss.
Okay.
Yes, and so he was saying how much he loved this book. He gave it an A+, and I haven't read any of Patrick Rothfuss yet, but he
did In the Name of the Wind, right?
Yes. But we've read things that he has said about other things that we've read that we've loved.
Like The Last Unicorn.
Like The Last Unicorn. And he was saying how the way that he writes is like something meta, but in more of like a fantasy world. And he felt like when John Scalzi wrote this book, he loved it so much, but then immediately it was like, he's encroaching on my territory. So I was like, well, now I want to read Patrick Rothfuss even more.
I think I would really like that. And I also want to talk a bit about John Scalzi because we read a book from him last month. So both of us are new to John Scalzi. We read Starter Villain, and now we're reading Redshirts. And I think having read two of his books, we have a bit of more of a feel for him. I think if you're fans of authors like Matt Dinniman, authors who really are able to merge humor and a good story, and where the humor doesn't mean that everything is farcical or not to be taken serious. Like, they have heart to them.
Yes.
And I think both these John Scalzi books, like, they're fun.
Yeah.
But they have heart, they have wisdom.
Yeah.
So I think they're worthy reads.
Absolutely. I agree. I can talk more about that when we talk about the ratings. But in reading this too, like, I did have a really good time reading it. The perspectives are really neat. The narrative styles are really neat. I also decided to pick back up on Star Trek The Next Generation again.
It did make me really want to watch Star Trek. It really did.
And I wish that Adam was here because
Where is he?
I don't
never
know.
misses one.
Probably because we had to reschedule. He might be busy.
He'll watch it later. I trust
The very first episode of Next Generation is called The Encounter at Farpoint.
which
is his name. And I remember why it took me so long to go back to those episodes, because there's a character in them. His name is Q, and he is a shithead. Like,
he plays almost a similar character on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Oh,
He
okay.
plays a character called Discord, where he's just basically a disruptor.
Oh my god, he's the worst. And those first
him.
2 episodes are so infuriating. And I'm like, this is why I didn't want to go back.
Much.
Yeah, I can't stand
and
him.
as a person, I just really love him too. As you know, with My Little Pony, there is a whole community of very loyal fans. Because again, that's not a fictional thing that's entertaining, but obviously it's touching a lot of people's hearts. But they had a whole documentary on like the Bronies, and this father like went to a convention and he was obviously uncomfortable. He's trying to support his son. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here. And he just, the guy who plays Q, I can't remember his name, but he puts his arm around him. He's like, don't worry. Like, we're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
That's
like,
so cute.
Your kid's in good hands.
Yes.
Like, it was just, he seems like a very sweet person.
He does. And you have to be able to play a character like that. Like, oh my God.
He's the worst. But
he's
so fun.
the worst. Yeah.
Let's talk about the epilogues.
Okay.
So here's something very interesting, especially because, I was going back and forth with the audiobook and the book, and then all of a sudden, I've got quite a bit of book left, and then it's like the end. And I'm like, wait, what? There's a very long epilogue, and it's told they're labeled first person, second person, and third person, and that is literal.
Yes.
In that one of the stories is told from first person point of view. The other one's, which is, I did this, I did that. The other one's told in second person, you did this, you did that. And the other one's in third person where essentially they did this, they did that. And that was my favorite part of the book.
I agree, 100%. It really fleshed, because I hadn't quite finished it when I rated it, because I was like, well, that's the end of it. What else can these codas have to offer me? So I rated it 3 stars, and then I read the codas, and I'm like, no, this is a 4-star book.
See, this is what was really kind of, like, if I was friends with John Scalzi, what I would say is, that's the only thing I was missing from your book is the connection with the characters. And you have this epilogue and you get this deep connection, and then I cared. I didn't really care about the characters before. Like, I mean, if they lived or they died, I didn't care. I was more interested in where the plot was going, and the science of it was very interesting to me. But in the epilogues, there's especially one character, and it's very interesting. So we mentioned how there's a character who was the husband of a character who died.
Yeah.
Well, they go to our actual world. That guy, the character, he really misses his wife. And one of the things he asks is, I want you to take, like, it's her journals, her photos, everything his wife had of their love story, and I want you to give it to her just because I want her to know. I want people to know that she existed. I want, he's like, and I'm also just, I've been carrying all this stuff around, and I need to let go. So, they go to this woman who did an episode of essentially a Star Trek show. Yeah. And all these beautiful photos of her, like what looks like her in love with this very caring man. And she is so inspired hearing this love story. And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna make some changes to my life and everything. But, she's also recognizing she doesn't have that in her life. And it's really, like, emotional. And
it's really deep and philosophical. Like, she's asking her sister questions. She meets up with her friend who's a Catholic priest, and she's asking him questions about, like, other lives and what it means to have a soul, and, like, all these really, really deep things. I loved that part. I cried at the end of that part.
It was really, really amazing. So absolutely do not skip out on those epilogues. I think they're the best part. And then one thing I would say, as far as a change I would like, is after reading those, I would love John Scalzi to go back and insert a lot of that character emotional depth into his main cast. Yeah. It made a world of difference. Yeah. And even with Starter Villain, I will say that the characters were not very well developed. It's more plot driven than character driven. But this shows me that he has an extraordinary ability to develop characters and resonate with them on an emotional level.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah, because I even wrote, like, I didn't care about any of the other characters. I didn't even write their names down. There was too many of them. Yeah. Like, I just didn't care. And then that first coda part, the first person, he talks a lot about, like, the movie Stranger Than Fiction. And that is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie so much. It's so cute. And I was, like, thinking about that the whole time I was reading it, too.
Yeah. So it's really good. And I think it was really smart and also just really entertaining and fun. So it's rare you find a book that's laugh out loud funny. Yeah. But also gets you thinking and sticks in your brain. Yeah. Danny Nightmare, he gives a Leonard Nimoy out of a William Shatner. And I think that is about all you need to know about that.
I feel like that's accurate.
I think that's accurate.
I feel like I'm learning how to understand his rating system a little bit, or maybe it's just because I have seen enough Star Trek that I know who those people are, but I get it.
So, our ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to give it a 3.5, and I recommend it. What do you give it?
I also give it a thumbs up and a 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely I would say like above average. It's something I'm glad I read. But yeah, it was really good. Like, it's not without its flaws. Like I said, I would love that character development we got at the end in the beginning. But it is really good. I think I might have enjoyed Starter Villain a little bit more, but you know, I think also if you're a Star Trek fan, that's going to make your rating exponentially higher, because I got some of the references, but I'm not a big Trekkie. I grew up watching Next Generation and some of the classics with my mom, but all the new shows I haven't seen. I've seen the movies, but I am a casual Star Trek fan.
After I first finished this book, I thought I liked Starter Villain more, but the more I think about it, I've thought about this book a lot more than I did Starter Villain, so I think I like this one more. It gave me a lot more to, like, ruminate on.
I think I got it. I like the actual book of Starter Villain more than the book of this, but the epilogue of this trumps Starter Villain hell.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
So, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it on this one. Go read it. Go watch Star Trek and watch out for Borgovian landworms.
Explain the Borgovian landworms thing to them.
Oh, there's nothing really to explain.
That's one of the funnier parts of the book where the comedy comes in. I don't know if we covered that as well.
That's at the very beginning.
Yeah. It's a prologue where you see one of them dying, but like not only do the Redshirts die, they die horribly. And that's part of why they're so afraid. They don't die like
he's
peacefully.
Like sitting on this rock and he like keeps having these thoughts like, I shouldn't do this thing, and then he goes and does this thing and he's like, I really don't want to die, and just as he said he really didn't want to die, he trips and falls into the mouth of a Borgovian sandworm.
And that's the other thing too, like they have limited control when they are on screen. So what would equate to like a commercial break? A lot of times they're like, why was I so passionate about that? Or why didn't I think that through? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And then when it's back to the part that you would have seen on the TV show, like they kind of fall into these characters. And in that respect, it reminded me a lot of Cabin in the Woods.
Absolutely.
How like, the girl who's supposed to be like the dumb blonde, she's not dumb. She's very, very smart. But they pump stuff into her hair dye and then she's, like they kind of are forced into these archetypes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's a good read. Absolutely recommend.
Speaking of Goodreads, you can join the Strange and Unusual Book Club on Goodreads.
I love that. What a great segue. You can.
So cheesy.
We have our whole list lineup of the books that we're planning on reading on there. You can join the club and you can make recommendations of things that you'd like us to read and talk about.
And it's not like something you have to do a lot. It just tells you what books we're reading and you read along. And then when we are live or when we have an episode out, then you will have more understanding of what it is and you can share your opinions too. So that's something we really want to start doing, is reading your guys' reviews and such of a lot of the books we read, whether you're like live in the chat or you sent them to us. When you've read the book, like that's something we can do. You can also recommend books to us. Like for instance, Mummy B Movie recommended The Midnight Library, and we will be reading that next month. Or this month.
Yes. Coming up pretty soon. Yeah. This is a conversation amongst friends. So get in here and participate.
You're so wise.
Am I?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Have you guys noticed her amazing contacts now? She's like a Twilight vampire, like a vegan one that like just eats some like mountain lion.
This is my real eye color.
I know, it's really pretty though. It's like amber. Like, but you do look like a Twilight vampire. No, it's super
Maybe
cool.
I am.
You have the skin of a killer.
Okay, well, let's talk about somewhere.
I love Twilight. Let's talk about Somewhere Beyond the Sea. So, yes. Also, would you like to show off your books?
I do. Yeah, I have a few. We'll just start with the. Okay, so my birthday was last month, the end of the month, and beautiful Gory B Movie got me some books.
Heck yeah.
She got me this one. I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons by Peter Beagle, who wrote The Last Unicorn. And look at this. Look at all those dragons.
So pretty. And we're going to be reading this book pretty soon.
Yes, like it's coming up.
Like 2 or 3 books from now. We have everything planned to the beginning of December.
Yes. Okay, she also got me this book that we read last month, and she made even a little quote from my girl Talia is in there.
Her favorite
she
character.
Says, We should always make time for the things we like. If we don't, we might forget how to be happy. So beautiful.
So wise.
So wise. And look at that.
I love it when so they pretty. Color the sides. I am such a sucker for that.
Well, then because of that, I had to go get the second one. So I got the second one. And look at that color. That
we enjoy these books so much that I also bought both these books. I don't know if you can see them, but they are right here.
Yes, they're so good. They're definitely like something to revisit. Like I will come back to this.
And the hardbacks were like $10 each. Yes. So
and then also for my birthday, I bought myself so my husband, he bought me this tiny little
baby Hobbit. It's a Hobbit-sized Hobbit book.
Yeah, pocket edition. It's so little. Look how tiny those words are.
It's
you
so
can't
beautiful.
see how. I don't know where I'm going. Anyways, it's very cute. So you always have a copy of The Hobbit on you.
And you need that.
I bought this one for myself, Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. Look at that.
Which was the winner of Best Book at the Oscars last year.
The Oscars, yeah, 2024 Book of the Year. Horror Movie. But look at how fun that is. I don't know.
I sent Paul Tremblay his word.
You did? Did you? I wonder if he got it. I also bought myself this little guy. I found it at a Goodwill. Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
I've never read that.
It's about a seagull. Jonathan Livingston. He's a seagull. That's
all I need to know.
Yeah. And I just was like, that's adorable. And it's got pictures of seagulls in there.
I feel like that makes me think of that song Lesbian Seagull.
From Beavis and Butthead to America. And then these are just really fun. So we went to an antique mall. And I found these books. It's number 2 and number 3 of the Lord of the Rings.
Is that French?
Published in French. And I paid 50 cents each for them. And so then Doug found me the first one on eBay for like $8.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
1982, I think. And they also have a colored spine.
That's like ahead of its time because that's a big thing now.
Yeah. And they're so cute.
That's a great haul.
Thank you.
Great birthday haul.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and then I found this one we're also reading next.
That's our next book.
This one I got at an antique mall visiting Connie Nunn down in Roswell, New Mexico.
So cool. We gotta go hunt for aliens with her.
Yep, we do. So this is on our list to read as well. But anyways, that was my haul.
We gotta go down there and have her on the show and talk about books.
Guest appearance.
Alien books.
Yeah, she reads a lot of books. She reads a lot of Stephen
that.
King. She's a big Stephen King fan.
And The Long Walk's also going to be a movie soon. And she just saw the trailer, and I think she had a heart attack just watching the trailer.
I did. I was like, what have we gotten ourselves into? This is going to be sad.
And I was like, heck yeah, bring it on, because I haven't read it either.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time. But let's talk about Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Yeah. I just repeated what you said. Like,
no, that's okay.
That's not adding to the conversation.
I do it all the time.
I made so many. So we'll give you a brief recap of the first book. Do you want to take care of that?
Sure. I was not prepared for this.
I can do it.
Okay, you do it.
Okay, so The House in the Cerulean Sea is the first book of this. And I will say, this is one of the ones where you really do need to read the first book. Sometimes in a franchise, you can skip, hop around. This one, you really do need to read the first book. And you absolutely should, because we have had 3 books that we both agreed are 5-star in the 3 years of doing this show. And 2 of them are this book and its sequel.
These books.
Just spoiler alert, there for our reviews. The other one was Project Hail Mary. Which my mother recommended.
Yeah. And it's going to be a movie, too, coming out. And we finally talked Douglas into reading it. And he said it was probably the best book he's ever read.
Yeah.
So good. Get with the program.
But, so, House in the Cerulean Sea. It is about a man who, it's set in England. And this man, Linus, he doesn't have a lot in his life. He lives alone with his very cantankerous cat. And he has a very gray world. And really his whole life is wrapped around his job, which is essentially he works for kind of like a child services, like almost like a CPS agent. And he'll go to like orphanages and make sure that the children are being cared for. But there's also an underlying thing because it's magical children, making sure that the children are not too dangerous.
Right.
And they have picked him because he is such a like dogged like rule follower. to go to this house where they think the children are particularly dangerous. So they have a gnome there who's constantly threatening to bury people. They have a sprite there who has a lot of power. They have a wyvern, and they have the Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
He flat out passes out when he hears that.
Yes.
But he gets there and he learns, Arthur Parnassus, who, I think I pronounced that wrong. Parnassus, who runs the orphanage, he says, like, they're all children, even the Antichrist. They're all children. It makes me think of the movie The Omen completely differently, by the way. But they're all children, and they deserve a chance, and they deserve to be loved, and it's kind of like, almost like we were talking about with the last book. When you're a child, it's all on your parents to provide you with that love and affection and stuff. Like, these kids shouldn't be judged for what adults they might be, because they're not those adults yet. When they are, then we can talk about if they're maybe too dangerous and whatever. But they're little children right now, and they also shouldn't be judged by who their parents are.
Exactly.
Like, that's not fair.
No.
They should have a chance.
Yes. Also, they shouldn't have to register with the government just for existing.
Yes. So we absolutely love this book. It's also a great LGBTQ love story because he falls in love with Arthur Parnassus. And I also just love this because I've read so many, especially romantasy books, where, yes, they're hot and steamy, but it's a whole lot of, he is got so many abs, and she is so pretty. And this, I love that he wears his pants super short so that he can show off his fun socks. I love that he stands up for the underdog. I love, by the end of this, why these two men love each other. And, and you root for them, this little family to thrive.
Yeah. So at the end of the first book, I cried talking about it. And then in this book, I actually cried several times while I was reading it. Like, there's so much more passion to it. Like, it's more, the House in the Cerulean Sea is really from Linus's perspective.
Yes.
This one is more Arthur's perspective.
And it's him changing from being this rule follower to realizing that, it's about the individual person, that you can't have... and I think I have read a lot of books on, like, foster care and stuff, just because that's something that I am thinking about doing in the future, where you can't have, like, in this circumstance, we always take the kid away from the parents and put them in foster care because it's best for them. Because it really just depends case by case. And you have to have a big-hearted, patient person to do that. All these children are unique, and they're given very unique... they're treated very, carefully, and... honestly loved for their uniqueness. Like Lucy, the Antichrist, he loves what he calls dead people music, which is like music from the 50s and stuff. But that's just really sweet. And Talia, the little gnome, she put so much work into her garden, and he comes to see these children for who they are rather than essentially what species or whatever they are. It's a lot about, like, found family.
Yes, I agree. It's more about, they talk a lot about, like, what these children are capable of, and less, like, their potential, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And it makes you think about a lot of things. So, like, obviously, like, again, I'm coming to this from the Omen. I'm like, oh no, we gotta get rid of that kid. There are people who do that. People who try to do like an exorcism on this poor kid.
Yes.
And you're seeing this, like, from their point of view, and just because they have the potential to do maybe something bad doesn't mean that they will. They could also use this great power to do something good. And I mean, really, I think if you look at any child has the potential to be a serial killer. Or even to be a president and have those nuke codes. Like, they have the potential to have a lot of power. And I think, honestly, whether they're a magical character or not, I think it just comes down to just providing them with that love and support. To find their own way and trusting them.
Yes, trusting them, teaching them to trust themselves too, like giving them the knowledge and the support and all the resources to make the best decisions.
Yeah, so I think that's a good segue into Somewhere Beyond the Sea, because this book gets into a lot more of those themes. The first one's more of a love story, and we're getting kind of introduced to this world with Linus. The second book, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, is from Arthur Parnassus's point of view. And so, a minor spoiler for the first book, I don't think it's a huge spoiler, but Arthur is a magical person. And he is a phoenix. And as a child, that same house was another orphanage, and he was treated very poorly and abused. And they locked him in like a cellar in a really long time, to the point where he lost track of days.
Yeah.
And instead of becoming a person who was hateful, he turned that place into a place of love. And he's taken all the kids that basically have been deemed like not worthy of love and of having a home. And he says, like, this is a home and these are my children. And he wants to adopt them with Linus.
With Linus. So they're living in this house, and they have a petition out to adopt the children. But Arthur is being called to testify against the government, the department in charge of magical youth and all of its parent entities, about, he's there just to testify about the treatment he received and why the department isn't working in the capacity that it thinks it is. But then it gets turned on him, obviously, and they're like, you're dangerous, your children are dangerous. It's really, really sad and scary.
At the very beginning, there is these court proceedings, and they basically push him and push him and push him until he does turn into the Phoenix. And that can be dangerous because the Phoenix of him is very big, and it is fire. And so they're like, see, this is proof that we cannot trust magical people to be free. They essentially have to be in, like, locked contained units, which is also something like we've seen in things like X-Men and such.
Yes.
And again, as far as like the love story goes, I love that Linus is never afraid of him because he trusts that Arthur is a good man.
Yeah.
And so even when he is this big scary Phoenix, or even when he loses his temper, he trusts him. And that's a lot of this book. So one of the characters is Sal. Sal is a character who, he's a teenager. He's been put through 12 different homes.
Yeah.
And he is a were-Pomeranian. So even though he's this very big teenage boy who takes up a lot of space, when he's scared, he turns into a tiny little Pomeranian, which is just really cute. And he's always trying to shrink himself and make himself small. Yeah. And it's just really, really sad. But then Arthur discovers that he has a brilliant way with words, and he's a great writer, and he draws this kid out, and he gives him a typewriter. And by this book, Sal is sticking up for his siblings and stuff, and he's like, God, that's so brilliant. How'd you do that? He's like, because you taught us to stand up for ourselves.
Yes. He's the voice of agency in the story. Like, hey, I'm a real person. You have to trust me to do this thing. Like, even to the dads, right? He's like, trust us. You've taught us. Let us do this thing. Like, we can handle it. And if we can't handle it, we know we can come to you.
Yeah. And the big plot of this book is in the past, they had one inspector come before Linus. And Arthur had a romantic relationship with that man. And that man ended up betraying Arthur. And then Linus came, and now he's still with Linus. So they're like, yeah, you have a way of, like, seducing the people we send over there. So we're going to send a woman, and you're not going to be... Like, they twist into something really ugly. So they send this woman over who is more Linus than Linus, as far as, like, by the book. And she's under a lot more pressure than Linus, too.
Her name is Harriet Marblemaw. She's a lunatic.
So she is there, and, it's not even just that she's by the book. She is set on this particular way of how you have to be. I think one of the best examples is Talia, the little gnome girl. She's so proud of her garden and everything. She loves being a gnome. And this book is also a lot about, like, self-acceptance. Like, in the first book, they ask Linus why he deprives himself of a lot of, like, treats and such. And he's like, because, he's trying to... And they're like, oh, is it because you're round? And he's like, what? You don't say that. And they're like, it's just a shape. I'm round. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but you're a gnome. And they're like, it's fine. Yeah. You can be round.
Chauncey, in this book, he goes, I like my body. It's squishy.
Yes. So it's just a lot of accepting other people for who they are and accepting yourself for who you are. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, she also loves her beard. And so much that she buys special oils and stuff for it. All female gnomes have big beards. This woman comes and she's like, you really would be very pretty if you shaved your beard and you maybe a little bit of makeup and stuff. And thankfully, Talia has been raised by people who accept her and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to start digging her a grave in the garden.
When I read that part, I audibly gasped. And I told my coworker, I was like, listen, I know you don't care, but you need to read this book anyway. I was like, she told her to shave her beard. She's going to be murdered now. Like, she's dead. this is it for her.
And it's not like it's super easy either. Like, I don't want you to think that, also this book, I don't think I'm articulating how funny this book is. The kids are so charming.
Yeah.
You cannot help but fall in love with these children. I want more of these books.
Yes.
Because I need to know how these kids are doing.
Yes.
I absolutely love Chauncey, but, like, Chauncey's a very sweet.
Yes.
So, like, some of them, like Talia, she talks about burying people, but she's not going to actually do it. It's just her defense mechanism. Yes. And I love that Arthur understands that. Mm-hmm. And Chauncey, meanwhile, he's just a very sweet kid. He looks like a blob, and
he has,
all he wants is to be a bellhop. And even that is just really sad because she goes there and she's like, "You shouldn't be giving them false hope. There's no way he can do that."
And they're like, "But he already is."
Yeah, there's
the hotel here hired him.
There's a hotel in town that lets him be a bellhop.
You would be so lucky to have him carry your luggage.
And he cares so much about it and just making people happy.
There's a part where he's like, he's like, "Is it okay that I put a mint on her pillow? But I hope she doesn't eat it because I want it."
He is. I love him so much. Yeah. But early on, because they're hearing the proceedings, and he did warn the children that they might hear some things that are not kind. You know, but they also say, like, we don't want to be sheltered. Like, you taught us that you know, we can handle these things. And, you know, Chauncey, they basically describe him as being a monster. In fact, before he came to live there, he was told to live under the bed because he's a monster and that's what they do. And so even though he's the sweetest, big-hearted kid in the world, he's coming to grips with the fact that a lot of people have labeled him a monster. And he's actually really, really upset and talking to his sibling, Fee, about, like, you know, maybe I am bad, maybe I am a monster. And, Fee is telling him, "No, you're not. You're Chauncey. You're the best Chauncey there is." And he goes, "I'm not a monster," Chauncey said. "Nope," Fee said. "You're Chauncey. The best Chauncey I've ever known." And she told him, he's talking about his body. He's like, she told him he's handsome as crap. He goes, "And I'm handsome as crap." She says, "Hell yes. And I can eat all the pine cones I want because they're not human."
I love that. There's like a whole running thing where he's eating the pine cones. And then when you find out that he can talk to fish, and he has a friend named Fred, and then he eats Fred, but Fred's fine. Fred gets out of there. He spits him out. But he was like, I don't know, that part was just really, really cute.
And there's just, like, as a parent, I really liked this book. I mean, my son's an adult, but I don't think he ever stopped parenting. I think, you know, our moms in the chat would agree with that.
Absolutely.
But there's just so many things in here I really loved. It says at one point, Arthur says, he made it his mission to tell her at least once a day how proud he was of her. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to find just once a day something my son does that makes me proud of him.
Yeah, it's so good. And
just, like, this book has so much wisdom. Like, so many things I highlighted that I just... It's so funny and heartwarming, but there's just a lot of wisdom in here that confidence is silent, insecurities are loud.
I listened to the audiobook, and it's narrated by Daniel Henning. He does an amazing job. He does voices for every single one of the kids, and they're all different. And it's really, really cute. But as I was listening to it, I was like, I can't wait to get my hands on this physical copy so I can reread it and just highlight everything, because there's so many, like, funny things and poignant things that I could just read over and over and over again.
And we also have a new character, which was teased at the end of the last book, called David. David, I love him so much.
Yes.
David is a Yeti, and David I love that these characters are constantly challenged. He could have easily gone easy on his characters and be like, well, Arthur is such a loving person. He is not going to face any challenges with his parenting because he just knows everything. Arthur's constantly making mistakes. It's how he deals with the mistakes that I think is really inspiring. So he is constantly telling his children, you are not monsters. Yeah. You're not scary. Don't let people tell you that. Especially to Lucy. He's constantly telling Lucy, like, don't listen to what people say. He doesn't even like them using the word Antichrist. He's like, you are not a monster. You're not this. You're just Lucy.
Yeah.
Well,
you're my kid.
David loves scaring people in a fun way, in like a Halloween way. He's a Yeti, and that's one of his absolute favorite things is performing. He does a whole one-man show early on.
That's how we meet him.
Yes. He loves to perform, but he loves fun, scary monsters. Like the fun you would get from a roller coaster or a haunted house. Yes. Not genuine fear.
Yes.
And, Lucy gets very upset because he's like, I was told you're not allowed to scare people. And they essentially explain the difference between doing it to where we're all having fun and laughing at the end and doing it to where that person's scarred for life now.
Yeah, and Arthur, has to, Lucy's mad at him. He's like, you told me I couldn't do this. Why would you tell one kid you can behave this way and not me? What makes me different? And they have this really deep conversation, and ultimately Arthur ends up apologizing to him, and he's like, I was wrong. Let's think about this a different way. And they work it out, and it's really, really sweet. But for Arthur, this whole book is really kind of an existential crisis for him.
And I love it too because they also think that he's mad. They think Lucy's mad at David. Mm-hmm. And, David is really upset because he wants everyone to like him, and he boops him on the nose. And then Lucy says, Arthur says, you're not upset with him anymore? He paused. Then, don't think so, Lucy says. And even if I was, he booped me on the nose. You can't be mad at someone who does that. It's like a law or something.
They're so cute.
I also love, according to her, a good dress always has pockets.
I like that part too.
Read.
Yep.
That's Arthur's mother.
And
that's a lot of him, his mother, and I think sometimes parents do their absolute best, and the world sucks. And as much as you try to protect your children, I think it's really heartbreaking when, a good example is the movie Life is Beautiful, where it's about a Jewish family during World War II, and his father has decided to tell his son that it's all a game, so he's not going to be actually scared. And it's really, really sad because we all know, the likelihood of this turning out really tragic, and just the bravery of that parent. But, Arthur's mother didn't have a lot of power in what happened to Arthur. Arthur was taken away, and she ultimately just wanted him to find love and stuff. And in this book, he keeps talking Mom, I hope you can see this right now. I'm being loved, and I'm being cared for, and I have this. And he's like, I hope my mom can see this.
Yeah. He, sees her a lot. And so Arthur is a phoenix, and one of the things that she says to him a lot is from Emily Dickinson poem, and she keeps saying, hope is the thing with feathers. And I thought that was really beautiful, too.
I just love other things too, and I have a theory about this. I want to ask you about this. So again, I think Chauncey's my favorite character. I just love Chauncey so much. But at one point, he's like, "I am a man." He's so serious.
I found one white armpit hair.
He found one white armpit hair, and I'm thinking, he didn't get on armpit hair. That's from David. David's a Yeti.
Yes.
I think it's one of David's hairs.
That's actually really smart.
But he is so proud of that. And this lady who comes there, Miss Marblemaw, she's kind of manipulative. And she tells them that if they behave the way she thinks they should behave, they get a courtesy point. And she's giving out these courtesy points to them when they do what they're supposed to do. And Chauncey says, what's a guy got to do to get a courtesy point around here? Chauncey harumphed. Grow two armpit hairs? That's impossible.
Well, and then they joke about how she's gonna, how she wants Talia to shave her beard. They're like, she's gonna take your armpit hair from you. And he's running around why would she take my armpit hair?
I know, she wants to. And another quote I really like, this book has so much wisdom. It says, people tend to love quietly and hate loudly. And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. In that vein, and hating loudly, do you want to talk about some of the reviews of this book?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, I read a review, and they gave the book 2 stars. And they said, you get 1 star because Chauncey is perfect. And I was like, I agree, Chauncey is perfect. But this book deserves so many more than 2 stars. So I think a lot of people criticized this book and the first book due to the similarity and the inspiration from the Native American schools.
So we've talked about reform schools a little bit, especially if you read books like The Nickel Boys, especially kind of in the 60s, 50s, there would be these schools, reform schools, almost like juvenile detention, but they're famous for being very, very abusive. Like the one that's in Florida is one of the worst ones. There's a book, The Reformatory, that's based on that, and also The Nickel Boys, where they're now finding all these bodies and stuff. It's really, really sad and tragic. In Canada, there was one that was for Native American children, and these children were taken against their will by their families. And at the time, we have a different thing, and this again where I'm saying these blanket rules don't work, but at the time they thought that the children had a better chance if they were placed with non-Native American families. Now, they try really, really hard to keep them with people of the same tribe so that they can continue to have access to their culture and the support of their culture. Yeah. But at the time, TJ Klune has not said anything about this in the books. And yet there's not 1,000, there's a lot of, overall, the reviews are very positive. But there's a lot of 1-star reviews that get angry at him because in an interview, they kind of asked him what his inspiration was. And he said he was reading about this and it really broke his heart. But he said at the end of the day, I am a white male and that's not my place to tell that story. And so he has really dedicated himself as a gay man to telling positive LGBTQ plus stories. And so he's like, how can I tell this story in a way that I would have something to contribute and not tell somebody else's story. And so that's why he told it this way, which I think is the smart thing to do. A lot of people are like, well, he shouldn't have written this. He's telling other people's stories and he should have funded something for somebody else. I think if he wrote this about one of those Native American reform schools, absolutely I'd be appalled too. But he didn't.
But that's not what happened.
And it's just something he said in an interview about his inspiration. And I think you can be inspired by anything, whatever helps you to tell a good story. And I think, like I said, the story has a lot to teach us and about being good people and stuff. I also think, because a lot of people are offended because the story has a happy ending and it has a lot of love in it. And unfortunately, in reality, that's not the ending for a lot of kids, and it's really, really tragic. But this is also a fantasy, and I think fantasy can be one of two things. It can be like an escape to another world, but it can also show us the world that as it should be, and give us something to work towards. Yeah. And yes, this book is very, very sweet, but I think it's giving us a model of that's how the world should be. Yeah. He has an acknowledgement section or about a personal section at the end of this book. And he says essentially that, he wrote this for trans kids and other kids and LGBTQ kids who can't really be themselves. And so that's way more of a theme in this book. It's kind of almost like a parallel for that. And so a lot of people also didn't like this book because they thought it was too woke. Yeah. But if that's something that's, I don't know. I disagree.
Yeah, I agree. I read a couple that were reviews that were criticizing his agenda. For me, the only issue I really had with it is I felt like it was more like preaching to the choir, right? It's like, I share your thoughts with this. I'm not the person who needs to hear this.
I agree with
right?
that.
But I still I enjoyed all of the story and the depth and the lessons that you get from it regardless of the agenda, and that it didn't bother me. I knew I wasn't the person for it, and I was able to get the other things out of it, like the hope and all the metaphors about the phoenix and rising from the ashes and all of that too.
There's so many beautiful moments in this too. I think one of our complaints in the first book is Fee didn't get enough. Yeah. There's such a beautiful scene in this. Yeah. Because the kids are a little offended that he didn't tell them he was magical. Yeah. Now they know he's a phoenix, and she's like, you can fly. How come we never flew together? Yeah, and they fly together. And then they fly together. I was like tearing up.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
The other thing I think people take offense with is he says in his goal at the end of it, and the afterword, is that he wants to be like the anti-J.K. Rowling, which obviously she has her fans, but J.K. Rowling has made a big stance on being anti-trans. It's something she's put money into and stuff, and I think the reason that's hurt a lot of people is because there's so much in Harry Potter about being kind of the weirdos and finding acceptance, and then for her to basically say that about trans people, it's making them upset because they feel like they found a home in these books, and she's essentially saying, but it's not a home for you. Yeah. And TJ Klune is like, no, here's a home for you. Yes. And I think not every book needs to do everything, and TJ Klune is doing exactly what he should do. He's a gay person, and he's telling stories that he understands. He understands what it's like to not be accepted and stuff, for things that, for the way you were born. Yeah. And I think he's doing exactly the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Your notes are so pretty.
Thank you. I think I also said it, like, there are times when it felt a bit like a therapy session. It's kind of an oversimplification of the issue. Like, not an oversimplification, just a simplification of the issues. Like, yeah, I really wish it could be that way. Like, they are making a difference in the world, and in that world they are, and it's not that easy in this world. Like how all the press is in the island, and I'm like, we couldn't trust our press to do anything like that. Like, it's hard to come to terms with in the way that our reality is, but when you approach it from of like, this is how the world should be, and you think about that hope and like what people really are capable of, it's
like
still
the author
really beautiful.
is telling us to take things like the press and stuff that we don't trust and be like, the world can't be that way until you give it a chance to be that way.
Yeah. You have to put the right people in the right places, and you have to do the work.
And I will say I agree with one of the criticisms I read in some of the reviews. It's unlike the first one, and I find this criticism with a lot of romances. In a romance, let's reiterate here, in a romance, the conflict comes between the personalities of the two lovers. So Pride and Prejudice. She's prideful, he's prejudiced. That's our conflict. We don't need to have a big fight scene. In Twilight, he's a vampire who wants to eat her. She really likes him, but might get eaten. You don't need anything else. I don't know why she had to have all the stuff with the warring vampires. That conflict is plenty. The conflict between the two people is more than enough. And the first book here, that's all there is. It's the conflicts between Linus allowing himself to fall in love with Arthur and look past a lot of the things that he's been bred to believe are correct. That's our conflict. So we don't have a big fight scene. Now this one, it opens with a court scene. So we're setting up a different conflict. It's this family on the island versus the world that's trying to take the kids away.
Yes.
They want to take the kids away, and there's also some other nefarious plots that I won't get into because it goes into spoiler territory. Yeah. But it's building up to a big war where these people are going to come to the island and forcibly take the children away and separate them. So what's going to happen here? You're building up. It's almost kind of made me think of like, that's why I mentioned Twilight. The final book, Breaking Dawn, it's really building up to this big battle, and then you get like a premonition, and then nothing happens. And you're just like, womp, womp, womp. That kind of happens here. I feel like they're building up to this big confrontation, and it is resolved really easily. And the other thing I didn't like about it is it wasn't resolved by the agency of our main characters. Not going to spoil it for you. It wasn't bad. But it would make it to where I would rate this a low 5 as opposed to the other one being a high 5. Does that make any sense? High 5.
High 5.
But a low 5 is still a 5, and I don't give 5s easily. So that's still better than I honestly think I've given like less than 5 5s since we've done the show. Yeah. So that's not to lessen my recommendation. I'm just saying I have a little more fault with this book, whereas the first one I'm like, nope, perfection, no notes.
I also had a note in here. There is a point in chapter 15 where, and I've had this problem before, Arthur says, if you are not with us, you're against us. And I take a lot of issue with that black and white stance. Like, Mussolini said that. George W. Bush said that.
And I thought the whole point of this book was to see all the shades of gray, not necessarily...
And I don't remember who he was saying it to, if it was like the press or the government. And I think if you're saying if you, the government, are not with us, then you are against us. In that case, absolutely. But I just, the way that it was worded exactly like that, I was like, I don't like that. I also wrote that Optimus Prime says that in The Age of Extinction, and I hate that movie because of it. I was like, your good guy can't say the same thing as your bad guy.
I agree with that. I think that's kind of putting him in the position of the people he's against. However, one thing I also liked about this book, because the first book dealt with like Linus's big failing, which is his need for order and his adherence to the rules and not questioning anything. He's experienced his journey, and that's why I think it's good that this book is not from his point of view. Arthur wants to be this very loving, big-hearted person. Unfortunately, he has so much anger from his childhood. He was abused so horribly, and his way of dealing with this is, I'm just gonna stuff that down, like she says in Thunderbolts. I'm just gonna stuff it down.
Shove it down.
I'm gonna pretend that's not part of who I am because I don't want to be that. I don't, just because I had a bad childhood, I don't want to be a angry or bad person. But it doesn't escape the fact that the anger exists, and that's why the phoenix is such a powerful metaphor, because it's this burning hot anger, and we see that come out so many times. And I love that Linus is very patient. He's not afraid of him because he knows he's a good man. But there are points in here where Arthur will lash out, and that is one of the points. And I do think that's like part of his journey.
Yes. Oh, I agree 100%. There was even a part like when he truly like lets go and like is the phoenix, and he like lashes out at Arthur, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I got
but
so
it's
mad.
necessary, and it shows that like you can have flaws and turn around and like rise from the ashes. You can make mistakes. You can light your whole world on fire, but then like, as long as you make the effort and you do the work, you can come back from it, and you can come back more beautiful and with stronger connections than you had the first time around.
I think it also shows us that like not confronting your anger and understanding your anger and dealing with it, it can make it uncontrollable. Yes. So it comes out, and then he does end up verbally lashing out at the person he loves the most. He says a lot of things that are very hurtful, and I love that Linus understands, you know, and is still there for him. Like he could have easily gone like everybody else and be like, well, see, you're this big scary monster. I think a lot of people would have, and would have walked away and would have felt justified in that.
Yeah.
But he believes in Arthur, and he knows that Arthur's dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
Because who he wants to be is in conflict with what he's been told he is. Again, it's what he's teaching the kids. He's told this he's this big, dangerous monster.
Yeah.
He's been told that his whole life, and then his adult life has been, no, I'm this kind, patient father.
Yeah.
And now being confronted with the phoenix, having everyone know about it, he's like, maybe I'm not a good dad. Maybe I can't do this. And he needs to actually go to his own the things he's taught his children to get through this.
So I read this at some point in one of the, like a conversation topic thing for the book, and it was talking about how in the first book how Linus had that mouse pad that said don't you wish you were here, and that kind of has a similar theme in this one, but I feel like it's more pronounced about don't you wish you were here being like this moving goalpost of the kind of person you want to be and what it takes to get there. You know what I mean? Like, Arthur has this idea in his head of the type of man he wants to be, and he doesn't think that he can get there, and that's all he wants is to be like this one thing. But you have to do all the things leading up to become that person.
And it's almost like he doesn't believe in himself. And so he, you know, the kids didn't know he was a magical person in the first one, and I feel like he just wants to kind of rewrite everything. So, like, the place he was abused is this same house. And the cellar where he was locked, and it even has the scorch marks where he was trying to keep track of the days, that's the room they turned into David's room. And they talk about how he came to this place and he wanted to turn it into something beautiful. But I think part of it is also trying to, like, wipe away this bad past, to just deny that it exists. And you can't do that. And just like he is loving to all these children, despite, like, you know, Sal made a mistake, an honest mistake, but he was in a home where they were very abusive to him, and they went at him. They would, like, slam his hand and, like, drawers and stuff, and he turned into a Pomeranian and he bit her. And if he bites someone, they are also a Pomeranian. So, but, you know, Arthur is there to be like, no, you're a kid and you make mistakes, and that's okay, and we can deal with this, and this doesn't have to change how you see yourself. But he doesn't take his own advice until this book. Yeah. He's not as forgiving to himself as he teaches the children to be of themselves.
Yes, he's.
You let them out.
Yes.
Go, go, go. Go, go, go.
Go.
Go, 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 babies.
Go get them.
Go on. Ow.
Okay. Yeah, he's carrying this emotional weight of, like, all the children's well-being on his shoulders. Like, he tells Arthur, like, you're not magical, you're not going to understand this, but that doesn't mean that Arthur can't be there and help and try.
Linus.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. Yeah, Linus. That Linus can't give him support.
And they do tell Linus later on, like, that's what makes you magical, even though he's not magical, that he is able to be there. I mean, honestly, he's outmatched. He has no magical abilities. All these children could easily destroy him, but it's his kind and loving nature and standing up for people and stuff that, like, he does the right thing.
Yeah, he does. God, he's so good. I love it.
He is so amazing. I love him so much.
I don't have any other notes, really. I just wanted to say that Janet and Barry and Turnip were great additions to the story.
Yes!
Love them. Can't wait to see more of them. They're mud people. Yeah, they're mud people.
There's just so much. I almost feel like one of the things I love about this book is it kind of puts you, like, in the brain of, like, being a kid again. You know, when you're a kid and you make up these crazy stories and it makes total sense to you and it's a great time, and then you run into the house and you're like, Mom, we are playing outside on this anthill, and they all had names and they had a big arm, and your mom's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But this book, it lives in that space. Yes. And so, like, there's they give sentience to this mud and they turn into people, and, like, it's a whole plot point. Yeah. But it's not ridiculous. It's really good. Or, like, we talked about how Chauncey can talk to fish. Yes. He's only really I mean, just because he can talk to him doesn't mean they want to talk to him. Yes. He eats fish. And Frank, is it Frank or Fred?
Frank.
Frank talks to him back. And, like, that's a whole back and forth, like, subplot. Like, there's just so many things in here that feel like they had to have come from the mind of a child, which is so perfect because you have so many of these children characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Read it. Listen to the audiobook. Please listen to the audiobook.
I need to do that.
Daniel Henning, his voice for Chauncey and David, like, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for the narration alone.
And I also read some people, and this one I disagree with, a lot of people saying all the kids were the same.
No.
There are certain things, and I think you can see this with siblings, like, in the way you're raised, and so there are similarities. They are all very much their own people.
Yes.
But I think they are all very unique. Also, there's just so much humor in here too. One of the plot lines, they initially have to hide David because he is not registered. You have to be a registered magical person. And then I think it's Sal who's like, no, you taught us that we don't have to hide. Yeah. He doesn't have to hide in the cellar the whole time she's here. So their solution is to tell her that he's an adult. He is a stunted Yeti adult. And he's like, what was he saying? About being Arthur's buddy from college?
He's like, he's my buddy we used to throw back the beers and talk about babes. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Talking about babes and stuff, and it's really, really funny. And then I also, there's some parts of this, even though TJ Klune is American, I think you said he might even live in Leavenworth. Yeah. Some parts of this to me were very much British humor. Yeah. One of my favorite parts is they're drinking their tea and having their cake. It's also like Hobbit sensibility too here with the cakes. Yes. They're at the table like drinking their tea, and then they can hear Miss Marblemaw talking to the children. They're like, "Oh, that wasn't a good idea. Yes. Would you like another cake? Yes, I would.
Would you like a refill on your tea?"
But even though it's really, really funny, it kind of goes back to where I think a lot of parents would be like, "Oh, there's a conflict. I'm going to go in there and deal with it," and they trust that their children are able to handle.
Yes. For the most part. They step in when necessary, but they let them forge their own path.
And that's one of the things they get criticized for, too. Is they're like, you kind of let these kids run wild. And they do step in when they need to. But for a lot of things, they trust their kids. And their kids usually come through.
Yes, they do.
I don't have a
Where's
5.
Your 5?
I don't know, dude. Oh, wait. No, it's there. Whatever. I got it.
Okay.
So 5 stars.
5 stars.
Our third 5-star book that we both agreed on.
Yep.
It's a rarity.
It is.
Like
but
My Little Pony.
I don't know.
It's one of the characters from My Little Pony. So it's very random.
Yeah. I love these books so much. They're definitely books that I will revisit frequently. And I hope we get a third one.
I really do. Kayla and I talked about this a little bit earlier. And I even saw a review saying, I need one of these once a year to see how the kids are doing. Yeah. Something I would be very interested in, because I think it's very easy, not easy because they are more vulnerable, but to a degree, when you have a 6-year-old boy who's the Antichrist, I think it's a little easier than a 16-year-old boy. Teenagers are hormonal. Teenagers have outbursts, and if they're magical, they could potentially hurt someone, which is something we see more in like the X-Men movies, like that kind of thing. Teenagers, again, being hormonal, will say hurtful things that they don't mean, and they will test their boundaries, especially again, I've read about kids in foster care. I've read stories of where they will give these kids these beautiful rooms and like a flat screen TV, and the kids will break them and stuff because they want to see how far can they push you before you, because they feel like you're going to get rid of them eventually. So
what do I have to do to make you not love me? Let's do it now and get it out of the way.
They've been taught that love is conditional, and they will push those boundaries.
Well, and I hope at that point, like, and this is why I think we should get another book. I would hope that Lucy doesn't feel that way, right? Like, he has his dad and his papa, and I hope that he's secure enough that that's not what he's trying to do. But maybe he has some other kind of conflict, and he's, like, out of control with his power, and he needs help. And who better to help him than a phoenix who lost control at one point, right? Like, there's other ways.
Like Lucy does talk about how he has spiders in his head and he has these horrible nightmares. What if that gets worse when he's a teenager?
Yeah.
And what if he does lash out and say something mean? Kind of like Arthur did with his temper here. What if, the kids make a lot of jokes and stuff, but what if, being hormonal, they say something more serious, so they have conflicts amongst themselves. Yeah. I want to see how these two parents, who've taught me a lot about how to be a parent, how they will navigate that. Because unfortunately, we can't always, like, the kids are very, very cute in here, but what if something happens, like they go through something, and it doesn't necessarily mean you failed. It could be their school system, it could be their friendships, where kids pull away from you, and they're not telling you everything.
I feel like Arthur has that conversation with one of them at some point in the book.
Yeah.
About something along those lines. I can't remember. I'm going to read it.
I think he does with David.
Yeah.
Because David's kind of new there, and David pushes back a lot when he gets there. Like, I'm not going to give into this. I'm not going to do everything for you because of his experiences. But I do think we've had a lot of this. I just really want to see what the kids are like as teenagers, and I also think they're going to be lovely teenagers. And I just want to see how they grow up and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see Linus and they get married in this book, so I want to see that. Like,
yeah, it's so cute. What's Hoggies?
Daniel. We watched this guy. He does like an Australian guy explains said movie.
I think you've talked about him before.
And so,
and I was horribly offended.
When he talks about the Harry Potter books, he calls it Hoggies.
Oh, okay.
They go to Hoggies.
I see.
It's very Australian. So, Adam is not here. But I did promise I would talk a little bit about the second book in the Mountain Man series, which he is a big fan of. So, Kayla didn't read this as well, and I'll be honest, I haven't finished it. I'm only halfway through. But I have thoughts. I got thoughts. So as you know, I am a big supporter of Gus, which is the couple name I have given to Scott and Gus. Now, they have not been romantically entangled yet, but they are both survivors in the zombie apocalypse. And, a complaint I would say is I'm just kind of zombied the heck out, which is why it's a little harder for me to get through this. But this is more Walking Dead than The Walking Dead, because in a TV show, you can't have just a lot of people's day-to-day. People will get bored. You can't even do that in a graphic novel, but in a novel, you can. And Gus, at the end of the last book, the girlfriend he had brought a whole bunch of people there, and he was nearly killed. His friend Scott has gone out to try and find this human serial killer. And yeah, he's left kind of broken and alone at the end of that book. And in this one, he had an infected tooth he has to take out. So he's lost his tooth. He's in bad shape. He has to how he manages things. So he had this infected tooth. He does it himself. He takes the tooth out, and then he has to go to the library and figure out what kind of painkillers he needs and stuff. And just, it's a lot of the day to day, which is what The Walking Dead purported to be. If you read the graphic novels, they talk about just the day to day of survival. Yeah. And then the routines and how just mind-numbingly awful it would, how just the day to day would drive you insane. These books do that better than The Walking Dead did. And I think if you like The Walking Dead, absolutely. Plus, there's a lot of humor in there because Gus is a very funny character. He's got a very, Ashley Williams from Evil Dead kind of vibe. There's some fun stuff in here, he gets a snowmobile. He finds ways, and again, you hear this a lot in survival shows, if you're stranded in the jungle, appreciate the beauty around you. Like, find joy. Like, your mental health is important.
Yes.
And so he finds ways to enjoy himself.
Yeah.
You know, with a snowmobile or whatever. He does start to go a little crazy because he's alone. He's talking to Captain Morgan on the Captain Morgan bottle. But for all of you who are like, you know, Gory, you're really reaching with this whole Scus thing. You know, they're just really good friends. Two men can have a friendship and be very good friends without being romantic. Stop reaching. Well, you know what? I got some freaking evidence for you in here. I got evidence.
Because I was going to ask. I was like, what's the Scus thing? Like, is it like a potential real thing? Tell us everything.
So, Scott, like I said, he's gone.
Yeah.
I'm told by Adam he comes back in the third book. But I love this quote here. Another overcast sky, and Gus believed that it had been a very long time now without any sunlight. It was as if Scott had taken the sun with him. That's like the most romantic fucking thing I've ever heard.
That's so sweet.
Isn't that romantic?
That's very romantic.
And then Gus smiled, hoping that wherever Scott was, he wasn't in a similar situation. He's in a zombie situation. So this one is especially, even more so than the first, because there are more, like, it's just a lot of just how he's surviving today. And he's also adjusting to winter is different with these creatures, than the zombies. There's also just interesting things I haven't seen before. Like, he is wondering through the first half of this book, where do the bodies keep going? He keeps killing all these zombies and such. Where do they go? I just got to the point where he found out. He thought maybe dogs were dragging him away. No, it's rats. And they're not quite right. And there's like hundreds of them. And it's just like, scares the crap out of him.
Ew.
It's intense. So, so far this is pretty good. And I'm glad it's a series because, it takes a long time to tell a story like this where you're really trying to drive home how survival is more of a mental game. Like, it's not even the zombies that are going to really break you. It's the mentally being able to get through the loneliness. You know, it's winter, there's no sun, you know, just not knowing what the world's going to bring. The mental part of it, I think, would be the hardest. And these books do a very good job of that.
That's cool. That sounds really fun.
So I'll finish reading this.
Yeah.
And I will read the next one. And R.C. Bray does a good job with the audiobook. I go back and forth a little bit. But R.C. Bray also did the Starship Troopers audiobook.
Oh, that was a good one.
So we have some big news. Hopefully you guys are still here.
Yes, please.
Because we have big news.
Big.
How big's the news, Kayla?
So big. This big.
It is.
What am I supposed to say?
I mean,
it's huge. Huge.
It's huge. Ginormous. So this is going to be our last live stream for the Strange and Unusual Book Club that we've been doing for almost 3 years. Or it has been, no, it's almost 3 years.
This is the end of our third year.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time. And this is going to be our last, well, maybe we'll do it. I don't know how we would do it.
It's not going to be our main form of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have talked about it a lot and done some research, and because these are pretty long live streams and we notice people can't always sit there for them. It's kind of hard to sit and watch a video for the whole thing. We have decided that we want to make this a podcast.
How do you guys feel about podcasts?
So that way people can take more time and listen to it when they're walking their dog or cleaning their house
or commuting to work.
Yeah.
What have you.
And we'll post it on Spotify, iTunes. It will also be here on YouTube.
Yes.
We just won't have like a video component.
Yeah.
But that's our plan.
That's our plan.
So let us know what you think.
And we'll be able to do it more frequently, too, as part of the goal. You're going to get us twice a month.
So every 2 weeks will be an episode of the podcast.
Yep.
And so each episode of the podcast will be one book. And we'll take turns picking out what the books are. We honestly usually kind of pick them together because we have pretty similar tastes.
Yeah. And too, like, we, continue to recommend books as well. We'll always pick from those. Our imaginations only stretch so far.
So, we still want to hear from you guys, but that will mean, interacting with us on social media. We have Bluesky, Instagram, Facebook,
Goodreads,
and you can message us here on YouTube. Plus, we'll have our new platforms for the podcast. But, if you have a recommendation for us, let us know. We add it to a list, and a lot of times we don't know what we want to pick, and we're like, oh, that looks pretty good. And plus, so-and-so, that's usually a big incentive for us. Plus, so-and-so said they wanted to read that.
Exactly.
Because we really want you guys to read the books with us. That is our big goal. The other thing, too, is then you guys wouldn't have to catch it live. You can listen to the podcast when it's convenient for you, when you've read the book.
Exactly.
Is kind of our plan.
We can kind of maybe control spoilers a little bit better. So, yeah, it's going to be great.
And our first podcast will be on September 23rd, right?
September 23rd will be our first episode, and we are reading The Long Walk by Richard Bachman Stephen King.
Which is kind of interesting, because our very first live stream ever was Cabin at the End of the World? Is that what it was called?
Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was kind of a book versus movie. So we're reading The Long Walk because we want to see the movie.
Yes.
And we need to read it before the movie comes out. And we're also, the other nice thing about us doing this in a podcast form is we're going to be able to bank them. So our plan is we'll record 2 episodes at once, and then we will have 2. So there won't be as much, like, there won't really be reason to have to reschedule anything because we will have the thing already done and edited.
Yeah,
so
it allows us to be a little more flexible and make the content more accessible for everybody, that you don't just have to sit there for 2 hours and listen to us. Yeah,
and we might still do like live streams, like, you know, we've done watch parties before where we watch a movie together, you know, or maybe we might just pop on just to talk, like after we've done the podcast, just to talk with you guys live. But you can still talk to us and be a part of the conversation. In fact, we encourage that. We really, one of the things we want to add at the end of our podcast is where we read, you know, from your guys' reviews of the book. Yeah. So even if you're just on Goodreads and you post your review of it,
we'll find it.
Or if you can send it to us, like I said, we're in so many social medias. It's so easy to send us stuff. Or comment, or just commenting, you know, wherever you watch it, whether it's, you know, YouTube or the podcast on Spotify or all the places.
All the places. We're easily accessible.
Horror Addict says it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
let us know what you guys think of this. And the other thing, too, like, we have a lot of people who do participate. I see Brandon Meacham reading the books we're reading. I see Heather doing that. So hopefully this will help people, like, not feel like they're missing out. They didn't catch it live. Yeah. You know, you can still listen to it along with everybody else.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we can go back historically. Like, say we record an episode of the podcast and you decide in next year you want to read it, you can still send us an email or whatever and be like, oh, hey, I just read this and listened to your episode on this, and it will contribute, and we can talk more about things too, and maybe revisit other books.
Yeah,
that
we might reread some books if you guys are really interested in them. I am going to bring all of the live streams that we did over on my personal channel, Gory Movie, over here, so they're all in one place. And then, from here on, the podcast will be also posted to YouTube. So we won't have visuals. So we might occasionally do that. We might just film ourselves while we're doing the podcast. I know a lot of podcasts do that, where they also have the video. Yeah. But probably not every time, just because that's time that we could spend working on our notes or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, because it takes a lot of energy, for me anyway, to get presentable. Kayla just wakes up like this because she's an angel.
I'm naturally gifted by the Lord.
And she's obviously a vampire.
Obviously.
Right? I also wore this Twilight shirt because it was in honor of Scuss. You know, like, I was like, you know,
Forbidden Love.
It's almost as good of a love story as Twilight, which is, I'm trying to make that be the new thing. Because I just hate the Twilight hate, guys. Twilight's fun.
But then we wore our Antichrist earrings.
For Lucy. I love Lucy.
He loves me.
They also have those books, kind of going back to that a little bit, they have the best soundtrack.
Oh my god, they're so cute. All that 50s music.
I love all that, like, 50s rock and roll.
You do always look amazing. But you do put in a lot of effort.
I do.
For this.
So yeah, that's our plan.
That is our plan.
I'm also trying to keep it separate from my horror channel.
Yes.
Which I have plans for that too, but that's Gory Movie. And I kind of ended up merging it with this. But, you know, this is just me and Kayla hanging out. And, like, as you've seen, she always calls me Haley. Just because that's not how we interact. So I'm just going to, I think I'm going to change it to where I'm just Haley on the podcast. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are always just like, you know, hey, I kind of want access to that too. Yes. So there you have it. It's on the podcast.
I did try to catch myself for a while there, but then I just gave up. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's not like it's a big secret. I even have, like on things like Steam and stuff, it just says Haley. So it says on the credits, a lot of my videos, Haley. So it's not a big secret. I respond to both. As Connie knows, right. Gory Movie was my roller derby name. So, like, I respond to them both.
Yeah. Love it.
But I think it's also just nice to just have us just be ourselves, just be real, because we talk a lot. I mean, I think when you talk about books, you do get into a lot of personal stuff.
Absolutely. I think it'll be bad. Like, not that I don't take this in a way that I don't mean it. I don't know how I was going to cross, but, like, I think it'll be better for, like, our friendship.
Yeah, right? I think so, too, because, you know, like, this is, like, I created this to be a character for a show so that there'd be a separation between, but, I mean, this is supposed to be our friends. Thing. We're real friends. We're trying to have a real conversation. Yeah. So, yeah, minor differences, but I think they're good differences. Yes. Good changes.
Yeah.
Plus, we're just going to keep doing other things that we do. Like, you know, we went and saw Matt Dinneman.
Yes.
So cool. And we got our book signed.
So cool.
And, yeah, we want to keep going to more book signings and adventures like that. Those kind of things we will film.
Yeah.
And they will go on our
maybe
channel.
Even, like, the movies that we go watch and stuff. Like, we went to go see The Toxic Avenger the other night.
That was so good, guys.
Oh, my God, it was so good.
I was surprised by how good it was, because I'm not a fan of the original.
I laughed. I screamed. I cried. I was horrified. It was everything.
Honestly, watching it with her is the best. Just her reactions
was just
like so good and so all over the place. She goes from like singing along to be like, oh,
the horror.
The horror. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good. I also recommend, I just watched with Danny yesterday, The Naked Gun. I didn't even see the original, but it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to have to watch that one.
So good.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So here we are.
So
join us.
What we're reading next month, we talked about this a little bit. So, yes. If you are ever curious about what we're reading, the exact dates are on Goodreads. Mm-hmm. So if you want to watch the podcast, because we usually do have a spoiler section, and you know, if you haven't read it before, I know Connie, it's one of her favorites. Mm-hmm. But if you haven't read it before and you want to be ready with us, then it will go live on September 23rd. Mm-hmm. And by then we will have seen the movie, and we will have read the book. So that gives you 2 weeks to read the book.
Yeah.
You know, or get the audiobook or whatever you want to do. You want to tell me what the long walk's about?
So the long walk, from what I gather, is about this world where these young boys, they sign up to take this walk, and you walk until you stop, and only one person can make it to the end. And if you stop for longer than 3 seconds, they shoot you.
Yeah, they give you 3 warnings. And
they give you 3 warnings.
Put a plug in.
And then you're dead. And you're walking for miles and days, and I don't really know what all it entails, but we watched the trailers of the movie, and I was like,
it's got that one, I'm terrible at names, but he was really great in Alien Romulus. I think his name was David.
Oh, that boy.
Not David. What was his name in that? Again, bad with names, guys, but I thought he was fantastic. He was one of the best parts of the movie.
Yes.
So he's in it. It gives me a lot of anxiety because you can see them all laughing and forming friendships early on, but only one of them can survive. This is very dystopian society, and this was actually ahead of its time. Before we had things like Hunger Games, and even before Battle Royale, this was one of those dystopian kind of game shows. And it's interesting that he also wrote The Running Man as Richard Bachman, and that's also getting in a movie this fall.
Yeah.
Yes, and Mummy, my mom, and I'm holding her to this, my mom does not really, I understand there's a lot of things going on in a movie theater and that can be really, really, really distracting. So often she would rather watch a movie at home. Totally get that. But I still love seeing a movie on the big screen. My mother said she's going to go see Project Hail Mary with me. So I'm going to go all the way to Moses Lake to go see that.
I love it. Yeah.
We got to go see that.
Really
we got to get like a big group.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So that actor, his name is David Johnson.
David Johnson.
You're right.
That's the actor's name, not the character.
No.
I can't remember the character's
Andy.
name. Andy. Haley.
Yeah.
So, it looks really intense. I think part of the reason I've never read this one before, I wouldn't say I've read a lot of a lot of Stephen King. I've read, I don't know, an average amount.
Yeah.
I don't know what an average amount of Stephen King is. I've read a lot of the big ones, but one of the reasons I never read this one, even though it's one of his shorter ones, it's like only 300 pages, was for Stephen King is short. Is because I'm just like, how much can you write about kids just walking? Mm-hmm. They showed some things in the trailer that were really upsetting though. Like one kid is having a seizure. Mm-hmm. And another kid is like, he stops to tie his shoes. And you think about all these little things. So I do hope that it, for a film, I can see them able to maintain that tension. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, their family can also be on like the sidelines, and it is televised. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I started reading the book this morning, and I'm literally 4 pages in, and I'm already upset.
Oh, gosh.
Like, I'm already just like, this is going to
give us anxiety.
Yeah,
And, Mark Hamill, as Douglas said, is the guy who's, like, on the truck. Who's
the
like,
major.
better keep going, boys.
Yeah, the major.
Yeah. Wrote The Long Walk and The Running Man. Yeah. So I'm also kind of curious because I actually come to think of it, I don't think I've read... No, I've read The Running Man. I've read one of the Bachman books. But I'm curious, like, if he actually made an effort to make his style different. I didn't notice in The Running Man, but I did read that when I was a bit younger.
There he is.
So handsome.
So handsome.
I love a man with spectacles.
Yeah.
I just love anybody with spectacles. Spectacles are great. So, yeah. I'm excited to read this.
Yes.
And then if you want to, like, prepare in advance, like, you just want to get the books that we're reading so you have them ready, they're all on Goodreads. The one after this I know is the Midnight Library. But you can see what we're reading up till, like, December. We try to have a couple months on there so you guys know what's going on. It's on Goodreads. The link is in the doobly-doo down below. But remember, September 23rd.
Yes.
This month is going to be the first episode of our podcast. You can listen to it here. It'll be in all the places. I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm really excited about it, too.
Yeah. And even though the first episode is just that one, this month, the week before that, we'll be recording The Long Walk and Midnight Library together.
Yes. Yep.
So, and Mummy B Movie also loved The Long Walk. So we've got Mummy B Movie and Connie Nunn giving it acclaim. So I'm excited to read this.
That's at least 2 thumbs up.
I mean, honestly, I haven't been that disappointed by too many Stephen King books. He is phenomenal.
Yeah, he really knows what he's doing. You know, the other night I decided I was, like, bored, and so I put on Pet Sematary. It was the most depressing movie. It is depressing. So depressing. I was like,
So that movie, I think, scared me more than anything else when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Zelda.
Yeah.
But I think what makes him so special, a lot of people will dismiss him as just being a horror author. And when I think of, like, kind of more pulpy horror authors, I mean, I'm sorry, but I think of, like, Dean Koontz.
Yeah.
What separates Stephen King and makes him one of the greatest authors of all time is his ability. Again, it comes back to truly make art. You have entertainment, yes, but you also have wisdom. And he adds so much wisdom to all of his books. He adds these characters that you really connect to. And somewhere along the line, you learn a few things just about what it is to be human. And he has this great understanding of human beings.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm ready to read Fairy Tale again.
I love Fairy Tale so much.
Yeah. What I want for that, I'm sure they're going to make a movie out of it and it's going to be great. But what I want is a shitty, like, mini-series. Like a BBC, PBS style mini-series. Like 10th Kingdom kind of a thing. Yeah, I think it would
be better as like the old miniseries they used to do. And, like, it still holds up.
Like the Langoliers. Yeah, give me that. Give me this.
My mom and I, like, that would be a big event, you know, back in the 90s. Yes. If Stephen King had a new miniseries, and they were pretty frequent back in the day. This is before he had as many movie adaptations. That would be a big event. We're going to watch the It one. Next week, we got to watch part 2. And I think my favorite of all time was The Stand. Yeah. But, like, that would be a huge event. We watched Golden Years. He had Rose Red.
That's what I want for this, but we're not going to get that.
But maybe, I mean, what they do these days a lot is they'll do, like, an 8-episode
limited series.
So maybe they'll do something like that. The Tommy Knockers. Love that. So fun. It's so cheesy. I still love it.
Love it.
Again, watched it with my mother.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, cool. Come and join us on our podcast, guys.
Yes. And we would love feedback, too, because for both of us, this will be our first podcast ever. It's kind of new territory. Yeah, we would love your guys' feedback on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And until we meet again,
blessed be.